on the campaign website that you graduated with a degree in economics and finance from Baruch College in 2000.
I'll save you I did not attain a college education. That regrettably so is one of my biggest regrets in life.
So that was a lie.
Absolutely, and I admitted to it, and I've made peace with the fact that I made a bad choice in making that decision. It wasn't easy.
What's the simple explanation for why would you lie about something like that?
Expectation on society, the pressure, couldn't afford it, decided I wanted to run for office, although I had built a very credible business career. And I just didn't have that part of my biography that I could not give anything.
Did you not think that you'd be cool?
You know, I just went with it. I didn't think, I mean, if you're going to make up a lie, are you thinking at all? I just think it was a stupid decision in my part. Very stupid decision that I regret every day. I mean, especially because I'm sorry to cut you off, but especially because I can prove the chops and the backing without the education. But this stems more deeper into the political apparatus and the political culture of New York State. And that would take a lot more time than this program to go over to explain.
No, I can imagine. Listen, I understand the desire to want to be more impressive with your record than you are. I'm bemused that you would be naive enough to think that you could run as a politician in New York in particular and not expect to get what happened to you, which is a massive comeuppance when they discover this stuff isn't true.
Stupid. It was stupid.
All right, Chase, what do you got?
So let me just sum up the overall message of this one clip here. It was a stupid decision, and it's somebody else's fault. That's it. That's the whole message here. This is, in my opinion, doing 20 years in the military, 9 deployments. This is the behavior of a coward and not a leader by any measure of the word. And most likely, there's something going on internally with this person that is probably severe. And it may be at a point of pathology. I'm not an expert in that. But his blink rate just soars upward around the word naive.
You would be naive enough to think that you could run as a politician in New York in particular.
And this is a great way for us to take a look to see what reliable behavior indicators we can see in a few moments. And at the end here, there's a few things going on. His romancer mode, as Scott and Greg, you guys would call it, is just really turned on. This is where we see his voice pitch speed up, his voice raise in pitch, then speed up. Even his body starts speeding up. And this is fear. Fear increases the speed of movement of our limbs, our eyelids, our head, all of our body parts. I think there's a part of him that's actually enjoying the thrill of this experience.
Yeah.
And it is almost a copy paste of a video that we did before on Dr. Phil about a massage therapist named Tarek. And it is a copy paste of that kind of behavior. And he seemed to genuinely enjoy the negative attention and the spotlight. And I think he genuinely believed that he should be the one deciding what's right and wrong. And is most likely, this is the behavior that if I saw this in someone else, I would automatically think this is the behavior of a malignant narcissist at best. And of course, that's no diagnosis. Mark, what do you got?
Yeah, so let me unpack what I think you absolutely hit that narrative that he's got there completely. Let me break it down a little bit. So he's spinning lying into, first of all, the regret of not achieving a college education.
That regrettably so is one of my biggest regrets in life.
So brilliant maneuver there, because Pierce is there going, look, you're lying. And he's going, yeah, I absolutely regret not getting a college education. And then he says, but he's made peace.
I've made peace with the fact that I made a bad choice in making that decision.
Again, what a brilliant maneuver there to the idea of peace and making peace with yourself. So he's turned lying.
That was a lie.
Absolutely.
Into, I didn't get a college education, and now I'm at peace with myself. And then he goes, and it's not easy.
It wasn't easy.
It's not easy. So he's now pushed that into triumph. Now he's gone from liar to what an utter triumph on my part. Okay. So here's where he goes next. He goes to society's expectations.
Expectation on society.
Okay, so he's now brought in a bigger entity, massive entity that's expecting stuff of him. He pulls in poverty.
Couldn't afford it.
then the idea of democracy.
This stems more deeper into the political apparatus and the political culture of New York State.
So what a fantastic, I mean, you know, if I could spin like this, I'd be in work every day in politics. Society's expectations to poverty, to the idea of democracy, and then the idea of structural exclusivity. Basically says, look, I get excluded from this democratic process, someone who's been voted in. And he's saying, look, I'm getting excluded from this whole process. Well, what a brilliant, brilliant maneuver to turn from Pierce's "you're a liar" into a victim trope and print so much of that currency, so much of that very current currency, which gets a lot of attention, which gets a lot of airplay, which can get a lot of sympathy, and quite rightly so, because there are victims out there. There are absolutely people who are victims who need help. But if you go around printing that currency all the time, it devalues it for the people who really need that currency. And I mean, the awful thing is, here's a person who's printing that currency, and just as you're saying there, enjoying minting that stuff, enjoying the minting of that currency and devaluing it for the people who really need that. Extraordinary to see, exciting to see in some ways, and awful to see in others. Greg, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I think it's very methodical. I think if we go back to lying for sport, it's something I always say. There are people who enjoy lying for sport. All of us do it sometime. We play around with facts with people just to do something, but not like this. This is about life-changing events for people. Look, most people that get away with, to your point, Scott, cons, there's a reason. There's a reason it's called confidence. What they're doing is they're not tricking you. They're getting your confidence that they are what you expect them to be. And then they check the boxes. This guy was invented, whether he invented himself or somebody else. He's an openly gay Republican candidate, one of the few who's been elected that was not already in office. He grew up poor. He had to drop out of school to support his family. Look, if you are trying to build a candidate and everything hits the checklist, you might question whether that's true or not. And this guy, this move right here to me is more than just lying for sport. This is a massive redirect for him. This is an element. This is checkers or chess or whatever the hell he's playing. When he comes out and he's going to do a big throwaway sacrificial guilt, or what I call trading guilt. Yes, I did lie about college because I was in such a bad place, and it's important to the world, but it wasn't important to me. And I have all the chops to prove it. And you should be really careful when people fit everything you're looking for. Number one. I think as importantly as what he says was, I have made peace with it, Mark. I think there's also the implied, so should you. That's the piece I think I hear in his voice, because the lilt at the end.
I've made peace with the fact that I made a bad choice.
And that lower lip retracts when he says it. And we know that's about looking for some kind of reassurance when you do that. If you watch a little child withdraw their lower lip, they're looking for some kind of reinforcement. And then when he talks about why things are bad for him.
Expectation on society, the pressure, couldn't afford it.
It's not a discussion. It's a bullet list. That means it doesn't really have any meaning to him. Trust me. If somebody has screwed you over and left you in a situation where you can't win because you didn't have a degree and you had a list of things, those are called grievances. And people get animated about grievances. They don't bullet list them. It's just not the way things work. He smiles as he gets to this pinnacle of his victimhood about the political machine. Mark, I have on here something very similar to you. It looks like he's making a run at Robin Hood. He wants to be Robin Hood, even calls himself stupid. And I think all of this is trading guilt or turning over a big stone so he'll stop looking. And he thinks he's going to make a big tactical blunder that turns to a strategic blunder in the next video, but he thinks he's paving the way and that he's working Piers Morgan to get there. Scott, what do you got?
All right. Now, going back to the word stupid, every time he says stupid, that's when that single shoulder goes up.
I think it was a stupid decision in my part. Stupid. It was stupid.
That single shoulder shrug, and then that chin goes toward it. I don't think he thinks it was stupid. We'll talk about that a little more in a little bit. When he first starts out, we hear fading facts where he says, I did not retain a college education. Who talks like that? Who says that? Have you ever said, I did not retain a glass of water when I went to or in the kitchen? Nobody says that. It's just weird. His whole thing, that's why I'm thinking, I know he's thought about this, and he's had to lie about this one before as well, because he's ready for it. And then he tries to scoot right past that thing. by saying he regretted it, like what you're talking about, Mark. Then he gives a list of reasons why, like you were saying, Greg, that it's okay. He does a list of okaying this.
Expectation on society, the pressure, couldn't afford it, decided I wanted to run for office.
The whole time he's looking Piers right in the eyes. This is just brazen line coming out, just swinging, man. And then when he says, I just think it was a stupid decision on my part. Like I said before, he doesn't think that at all. He thinks it was brilliant because it worked and he'd done it before. And he talks about that as well. I think that's another thing we need to keep watching out for. And then when Piers is bemused by the balls this guy has to lie about how he got in politics, he simply agrees and smiles and kind of laughs and goes right past it like it's nothing. It's wow. So this is like here's what it's like watching The Crocodile Hunter. You know, when he goes out and he would get those big poisonous snakes and all that stuff, and you'd see him out in the wild and he'd be like, look at this, man, you know, and talking to it and stuff. That's what Piers has got. He's got him a live con, a live grifter right there. And we're watching him almost out in the wild as he's holding it. We're watching him lie and do everything that he does out in the wild. He's doing it right there right there in front of him. And they're filming it. I'm sorry, I'm getting all worked up. This is classic. This has got everything. This might be the best one we've ever done.
The eyewitness is you.
The second claim was that on the campaign website that you graduated with a degree in economics and finance from Baruch College in 2000.
I'll save you I did not attain a college education. That regrettably so is one of my biggest regrets in life.
So that was a lie.
Absolutely. And I admitted to it, and I've made peace with the fact that I made a bad choice in making that decision. It wasn't easy.
What's the simple explanation for why would you lie about something like that?
Expectation on society, the pressure, couldn't afford it, decided I wanted to run for office, although I had built a very credible business career. And I just didn't have that part of my biography that I could not give anything.
Did you not think that you'd be cool?
You know, I just went with it. I didn't think, I mean, if you're going to make up a lie, are you thinking at all? I just think it was a stupid decision in my part. Very stupid decision that I regret every day. I mean, especially because I can, I'm sorry to cut you off, but especially because I can prove the chops and the backing without the education. But this stems more deeper into the political apparatus and the political culture of New York State. And that would take a lot more time than this program to go over to explain.
No, I can imagine. Listen, I understand the desire to want to be more impressive with your record than you are. I'm bemused that you would be naive enough to think that you could run as a politician in New York in particular and not expect to get what happened to you, which is a massive comeuppance when they discover this stuff isn't true.
Stupid. It was stupid.
If you like this video, get the full body language breakdown and analysis on our main channel by clicking this video right here.
Águila.